Mayegun làwa mọ̀, làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun làwa mọ̀, làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun ti dé ọ̀rẹ́ ara lórí Facebook, lórí.
Good morning to you once again. Good afternoon to you. And good evening to you from wherever you are joining us. It is Mayegun Live. Again. It is going to be a long night. And you see, I plead with you to please read the caption, read the description of this broadcast fast, right? Digest it, okay? Like it, share it. Invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends. Tell them that Mayegun is back. This afternoon, when Nnamdi Kanu appeared in front of the useless Binta Nyako. At the end of the whole thing, she ended up recusing herself from the case, a very useless woman. So useless that you can easily tell those who have destroyed or been part of those who have destroyed the justice system in that contraption. They are called judicial bandits. One of them kissed the dust this afternoon. Her name is Binta Nyako. There are other developments, right? Read the caption, read the description. We shall be going through them one after the other. But today, again, I am going to do my best to make sure that I cover everything in time, and then you would have your own chance of contributing to the whole conversation tonight. So we are going to start from aftermath of the court appearance for Nnamdi Kanu, the prisoner of conscience, the innocent man that the criminals in Nigeria decided to put in detention, so afraid to try him. They are offering him all the goodies that they usually offer people that they believe are like them. You know, politicians in Nigeria believe that everybody is looking for something. And Nnamdi Kanu seems to have destroyed that notion. And that makes them more maddest. However, to the lily liver cowards, the voluntary slaves from that contraption called Nigeria, they are so surprised that Nnamdi Kanu is not taking the offer they are giving him. Some even believe that, why is he fighting for the people? Like the people you are fighting for don't seem to appreciate it because in their life, they've never done anything significant. And if they have a chance, as you know, Nigeria, that a majority of those who condemn injustice, most of those who kind of scream oppression, majority of them that raise their hands up to say they reject, they opposes corruption. It is not because they hated all those things. They don't hate corruption. They don't hate oppression. They do not hate injustice. Most of the time, they are just not happy that they are the ones. I mean, they are not the ones benefiting from the injustice, benefiting from the oppression, benefiting from the corruption. So it's so hard for them to see that, to actually see any man or woman stand so upright and say, this is my belief, and I am ready to die for my belief. They're like, why would you die? It's so strange to some of them. In the contraption called Nigeria, a man like Nnamdi Kanu is so rare. He is even an Igbo man. Something that a lot of them believe that an Igbo man is a businessman. He doesn't do anything for free. Shame. He's been there in their locker room. They've offered him almost everything, and he has rejected everything. All he wants, like Prince Jejeman will say on this platform, The first option for all sensible, genuine Biafran, the first option is Biafra. Second option is Biafra. Third option is Biafra. Fourth option is Biafra. The only option is Biafra or death. After the court sitting today, Nyako recused herself. And this was the report.
Do you agree with his position?
Yes, with what happened in open court today, we tried our best as his legal team to advert the attention of the court, call the attention of the court to the infirmities in the proceedings. The constitutional infirmities, very serious, very grievous constitutional infirmities that are militating against preparing him for fair trial. In particular, the breach, the flagrant breach of his Section 36 rights to fair hearing, which were not being properly addressed by the court. We wanted those infirmities to be removed, those features, those things that are making it impossible for this trial to proceed fairly, to be removed before Kanu could be put to trial. But my lord, the court was very reluctant to do that, and the court was blinded by some reasons in its wisdom to proceed with the trial when Mazi Kanu has not been given the opportunity with his counsel, team of counsel, to prepare him for this trial at the detention facility, DSA detention facility. So we felt this is unconstitutional, but the court was blinding itself to that. So our client had no choice than to express himself. That is his constitutional right. And remember that historically the Supreme Court had questioned the impartiality of this very court. So today it appeared that the Supreme Court was right after all.
But if you look at what Justice Binta said, she said that the part of the judgment where Mr. Kanu anchored his decision or his outburst in court for her to recuse herself was a contributory judgment, not the lead judgment. That judgment was made by Justice Emmanuel Audio, and that is what he's basing his decision for her to recuse herself. So what is your take on that?
Well, she did not say that on the record. When we applied for restoration of the bail, we made the argument that this is part of the lead judgment. The opposing counsel made a contrary argument. She never made a ruling on that. She dodged the question. She never made a ruling. What she said in open court today was a surprise to us. The issue whether the judgment, that part of the judgment was an obiter dictum, or whether it was part of the lead judgment or whatever, they raised the issue for the prosecution. We addressed it. When she made her ruling, she dodged the issue. Rather, she went abroad to say that she had previously forfeited the bonds that protected the bail that he had given to him, and that forfeiture was a question before the Court of Appeal, which also was in error. So we went on appeal. If she had addressed this issue on the record that it wasn't part of the lead judgment, we would have taken it head on.
Okay, lastly, sir, remember your client always complained that he had health challenges, heart, and thereafter. And now that the court has said that this case will be sent back to the CJ, don't you think it will take time? Because Justice Binta said that the CJ is unavoidably absent from the court. So the time before the court...
Charges leveled against me. This place where I committed this crime was London, in the United Kingdom. When my lawyers came to see me, I had a discussion with them about how I'm going to defend myself.
They removed it.
I told them that no court in Nigeria has jurisdiction to try me.
They removed that London.
Because since this offense was committed in England, so they said, it's only a UK court that can give a Nigerian court the authority to proceed, isn't it?
Yeah, based on that, they removed London.
Based on that, they now amended the charge again and removed London.
Location of the broadcast.
Location of the broadcast. Contrary to section 196?
174 of the Terrorism Prevention Act 2022.
In violation of their own laws. In violation of their own laws. And you want me to stand trial under such circumstances? Is that possible? Nnamdi Kanu to stand trial where these shenanigans are going on? It's not not possible.
Yes, the persecution against the Igbos. The persecution
No, let them give them a fresh one, not the ones.
No. We have many of that.
Mr. Kanu, last one last question. Not the one last question. Reference to what she has asked earlier. Just one of the senior judges at this court.
And I have respect and love for her. She knows.
What if this case comes back to her? Because
It is not possible. It's not possible. This persecution of the Igbo people, this orchestrated, almost global persecution of the people, stops with me. It cannot happen. Very well. It can never happen. That is why we do what we do. That is why I do what I do. I am campaigning for the freedom of my people because of the persecution that we are facing.
Yes.
It's as simple as that. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
The rules change when it comes.
Yentu. Oh, you do I pop.
Onye du iPod, o meriwo n'Izu, onye ya abakare, mama dawora, unapori meri Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two, now Python that's a three. Unapori meri Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's the three. Unapori meri Nnamdi bụ onye du iPod, o meriwo n'Izu, mbiro ya abakare, mama ndawora, unapori meri Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's the three. Unapoli meri Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's the three. Unapoli meri Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's the three. Unapoli meri Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's the three. Unapoli meri Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two, and Python that's the three. Unapoli meri Nnamdi.
And in that case, the whole trial they are trying to push fell flat because the Supreme Court said Nigeria court shouldn't have revoked his bail when the Nigerian army chooses to go and kill him before he appears in court again. So therefore, he kind of ran for his life, or else they would have killed him. And nobody will be held responsible. So you cannot revoke his bail condition, his bail, based on that. And therefore, Nyako can go to hell. So we see how this goes again. Yeah. And when they are tired, they would have to let him go. Let's go forward. This morning, there is this report or reaction rather, of Peter Obi to what the APC, Egbekegbe, what they have been up to, especially in Edo, the rigging that took place in Edo. It is so similar to what they did to him, Obi. You see the way APC always write their results. They will write themselves winner. They will write PDP next. They will now put Labour Party as far third. So that when people they discuss how to go to court or anything, right? They will say, which will be your results? The way you want to go to court. What you score? So in that regard, Peter Obi penned or put a pen to paper where he said, all these things you own they do, it will catch up with you. It's just going to be a matter of time. Here, what happened over the weekend in the name of election in Edo State does not in any way represent the democratic process we chose as a method of electing our political leadership. Instead, it was a blatant example of a state capture and continued gross undermining of our democratic process and values. Any nation whose leadership recruitment process is so fatally flawed is doomed. And we are all seeing the effects in our country. I urge those in authority not to allow this situation to stand or depend on it to remain in power. As a country, we have invested significantly in IRF and BVAS, and they must be allowed to function and used properly in order to free our electoral process from the massive falsification that has plagued it and worsening, to the agencies and individuals being used to undermine our democracy simply because they hold positions of authority. Please remember that your time in office is not eternal. The society that you are helping to destroy today will eventually take a revenge on you tomorrow. To the lecturers and other complicit in perpetuating this charade, you must reflect deeply on the roles you are playing in damaging the very foundation of our democracy. The damage you are causing today will inevitably take revenge on you tomorrow and affect your children in the future. This kind of action has no place in a true democracy. That is why I have always maintained that today's politics is not about capturing power, but about saving the country and making it work for everyone, regardless of their background. I remain committed to building a new and truly democratic Nigeria, which I insist is very possible. These were the words of Peter Obi. It is like a subtle warning, and he is very right. You see, you have lecturers involved in falsification of election results. It has gotten to a stage whereby 90% of those who actually register to participate in your charade election, in your elections, they never participated. It has eroded the faith of the people in the process. You have what is called the state capture. Who is going to be the highest rigger? Let the best rigger win. Now you are producing criminals as governors, as lawmakers, and Nigeria is already showing the symptoms of a failed country. So the more you keep up with this, the closer and sooner your total destruction will come. And those of you who are perpetuating it as well, for whatever you are being offered today, he said it all. Your children are going to live in the country you are creating. Yes, your children will live in that contraption. And it will catch up with everybody, as it is doing right now. You have incompetent criminals who believe that they could loot the treasury of the state and use same to seize power. They call it politics. It's not politics. It is criminal. It will catch up. But you see, the known criminals themselves, they don't give a damn. The first person to respond was Adamu Oshiomole. In his TV appearance, he was there to say, who is Peter Obi? It's not even from our state. I just got to see, or, kind of see it better now. You see all these kill Igbo people, kill Yoruba people, kill this one, kill that one, that suddenly took over the social media in the last few months. They were actually orchestrated because of this Edo election. And the people pushing it are no other than APC. Egbekegbe. They speak Edo. They live for Edo. You are not Edo. You are not original this. You are usurper. In fact, there were actually campaign among the supposed APC supporters where they said for Peter Obi to come to Edo State to campaign for Labour Party, it was actually a subtle agenda of Igbo people that want to take over Edo State. It's the Igbo people. They want to take over Edo State. That's why Peter Obi came to campaign, and we will not agree that. These Igbo people, they love, So it's all coming together now. Indeed. And listen to this. Adamu Oshiomole.
Because I'm not ready to
No, you are my guest. No, we have a conversation.
You are my guest. We can have a conversation. Yeah. But let me quickly
be nice to your guest.
I am nice to you. But this is what Peter Obi said. And I'd like to get your view on his own
From an Abra home, he saw what was happening, right? Go on.
He said, what happened over the weekend in the name of election in Edo State does not in any way represent the democratic process we chose as a method of electing our political leadership. Instead, it was a blatant example of state capture and continued gross undermining of our democratic process and values. Any nation whose leadership recruitment process is so fatally flawed is doomed, and we are all seeing the effect in our country. I urge those in authority not to allow this situation to stand or depend on it to remain in power. How do you react to that?
Simple. I watch, check the records. The candidate of the Labour Party, of which Obi is probably their leader, it doesn't seem to be interested in party. He's more of obedient, not party. He's not an institutional person. All right? Their candidate, unfortunately, well, we can't say it's unfortunate because, I mean, that is the will of the people. Report says that he lost his unit to PDP, not to us. So if a candidate lost his unit to PDP, not to APC, maybe his attack will be on PDP. But I also noticed that when they came for a rally in Benin, he didn't wait till the end of the rally. Or if he waited, at a point, he disappeared from the screen. But I don't want to really talk about Peter Obi. He's my good friend. We were governors at about the same time. I invited him to commissions of project for me in Edo State, and he did. We are good friends. It's just like the nature of politics. Sometimes, I don't want to throw away all my friendship or to throw away all my goodwill. But the truth of the matter is, from his sitting or from his hometown in Oka or in Lagos or wherever he was speaking from, certainly he was not in Benin. That is how he arrived at that conclusion. But in any case, I'm not surprised. Don't forget that only last year, Obi and Atiku were both claiming that they won. Two people claiming ownership of one phone. Two people. Oh, no, it's my own. Oh, it's my own. So, I believe one of them must be lying, at least. And yet, they were entertained.
Let's finalize on this note, and perhaps in less than 60 seconds, that's what I'm being told that we have. Going forward in this election, when back and forth, there are a lot of forces who don't agree with the outcome of the election. Where does your party go from here? Legitimacy is a very critical factor here, don't you think?
Those who elected Senator Monday Upewolo are Edo people. Obi is not from Edo State. The PDP chairman is not from Edo State. Aswa Ighodalo is a occasional visiting Edo State person. He doesn't live in Edo. He operates from Protia Hotel. He doesn't live in his village. He doesn't campaign. I campaign from my village. I campaign from my house. You say you saw people in my house yesterday. Let him do press conference at his residence to show evidence that he resides with the people. He's a visitor. And I told you people earlier that Edo people will not elect a visitor again. Visitors from Lagos. And then when they get to Edo, they say, Edo not be Lagos. Meanwhile, they made all their money one way or the other in Lagos. And then they think it's a political good statement to make. Oh, Edo not be Lagos. All right, Edo not be Lagos. But you don't understand Edo because you live in Lagos. Edo people will elect a visitor. He's a visiting Edo guy.
So that's your statement about the issue of legitimacy.
The election was won by Senator Upewolo. So he has the mandate of the people. And that is what you call legitimacy. It is when you don't have the mandate. Or if you know the guy, you have just told me that this man is weak, is this. And yet he was able to rig out these boardroom people, this director with all the money that they command, with all the wealth that they have. A poor man like Monday is able to buy them out.
The allegations of federal might that is being...
federal might. If you say federal might, good. Federal government was there in 20...
Oshiomoli, he said more. All right? And I actually want you to listen to them together and we can react to them all together. Here is other part of that interview.
Because I'm not ready to
No, when I'm
my guest.
No, we have a conversation.
You are my guest. We can have a conversation. Yeah. But let me quickly ask
nice to your guest.
I am nice to you. But this is what Peter Obi said. And I'd like to get your view.
In fact, I will just leave it at that, okay? Because it seems like an extension of the one I wanted to share with you earlier. So, yeah, there are other reactions too, especially from a different, from like a third-party reaction. Here is what the Yaga, they call themselves, had to say about the whole charade.
In this election, Yaga Africa deployed its process and results verification for transparency methodology, the PRVT. And what the methodology does is we look at a random sample of polling units, deploy stationary observers who stay at the polling units, from the commencement to the end of the process. And because we deploy to a statistically representative sample of polling units, we are able to release what we call estimates, the watching the votes estimates for the vote share that each candidate is supposed to get. This election is the 17th governorship election that we've deployed this methodology. Right. And we've also deployed it for 2 presidential elections in 2019 and in 2023, and they were all deployed successfully. What happened in the Edo election, for instance, we get results